Hey everybody, I'm Jerry Katzman. Welcome. Today we're going to cover something that everybody is afraid of, hecklers. And it doesn't matter what kind of performer you are, whether you're a TV host, an actor, a comedian, a speaker, everyone's got this fear of heckling. And here's the great news. After you watch this video, you are never, ever going to have to worry about hecklers again. Now, I have taught this process to hundreds of my successful students, and they all say the same thing. Having had the opportunity to be heckled in a controlled environment and being given a technique that you can use at any time when you feel your audience is getting a little bit out of control will make you a more confident, assured, and effective entertainer. And that's all going to happen today when you watch this video. We'll step you through the process, introduce you to the world's only online heckler simulator, and you will never think about heckling the same way again. Now, before we do that, let's have a philosophical conversation, you and I. It's very important. And even if you never go through the Hecklerator 9000 simulator, version 3.0, I want you to just watch this next 2 minutes because it's probably the most important thing on this video. Okay, here we go. Let's say you and I are hanging out with a group of friends and I say something funny and they all laugh, and then you say something funny, you go, that's what she said, and they all laugh. Are you heckling me? I want you to think about that for a second. If you say something like that and we all laugh a second time, are you heckling me? Are you going out of your way to make me look less than or to insult me? One more example. I'm performing outside at a big outdoor festival and an ambulance goes by and it stops my show because no one can hear. Is the EMT heckling me? This is my most important point. And if you answered no to both of those, then you actually agree with my point that 90% of what happens in your performance environment is not negative. It is not heckling. It is not aimed toward you. Usually it is one of two things. It is people who want to take part and be part of the fun, just like you were doing when you added your line, or it is people who are doing something that have nothing to do with you. So it's not negative, it's either positive or neutral. So if you understand this, then what you can do is begin to replace the word heckler in your vocabulary with the word unplanned occurrence. Because if you do that, you will become a stronger performer because you won't have a chip on your shoulder. Something happens in your audience, you can just deal with it as, oh look, a blender's going off. Oh look, those people are whispering about something. You're not going to get defensive, which is a real kind of beginning speaker, beginning comic kind of move. So if you take anything away from this video, before we ever do the simulator, I just want you to understand 90%, that means 90 times out of 100, when something happens in your audience, it is not aimed negatively at you. And if you can absorb that, take it in and learn it, then you can just react to things positively and neutrally and have fun with them. You're not going to be that defensive comic who feels that every word that's said is against them and feel the need to jump down their throat. Which leads us to our 4 how to handle heckler steps. They are as follows: ignore, acknowledge, direct, and shut down. These 4 steps are critical to controlling an out-of-control situation in your audience. And if we agree that 90% of what happens in your performance environment is not necessarily negatively based and negatively aimed at you, then one of the most important skills that we can learn, and it is a skill, is how to ignore someone who it feels like is interrupting your presentation. This is important because if you react to that interruption too angrily, if you get too triggered by it, suddenly they were just a friend. Now they're kind of an enemy. They're kind of mad at you for either calling them out or making fun of them or for reacting too violently to what was something that was very benign. So I'm going to teach you right now how to ignore. And here's how we're going to do it. You're going to tell me a story. I want you to tell me what you had for lunch today. And I want you to make it as detailed as possible. We went down to Subway sandwich. I ordered a 6 foot, 6 foot, we had a big team of people eating, Subway thing on wheat. It was a Veggie Max and they put this kind of dressing on it. Whatever your most recent meal is, I want you to really, really tell me that story. And I'm going to interrupt you twice. And both times, I want you to ignore me. I want you to remain conscious that something's been said, but I don't want it to derail your story. As basic as this may seem, this is a critical skill for you in order to handle what will be happening in your environment. Being able to ignore stuff and not take it personally, not assume it's negative. So you ready to go? We're going to tell me the story, and we're going to engage the Hecklerator 9000 in 3, 2, 1. Start your story. Awesome. Delicious. Very good. Congratulations. You made it through the first step of Hecklerator 9000, the simulation. Now, that might have seemed really basic, or it might have actually thrown you to have someone talking during one of your stories. If it did, I want you to go back and try that again. Now, if you've successfully completed that, we can get down to our next step. Now, as I said before, 90 out of 100 people are not heckling you, which means 10 out of 100 are. But the good news is that 5 out of these 10 are very easy to solve. This is a specific kind of heckler. They are a heckler who needs attention. Have you ever seen a kid in the back of a car and the mom's driving and he goes, "Mom, Mom, Mom, look at it, Mom, look at it, Mom, Mom, Mom." And all the mom has to go is, "I see, honey," and he relaxes. Sometimes in an audience, you have these people. They need attention. And before you just kind of jump to the conclusion that they're stupid, have you ever been to a rock and roll concert and seen one of your favorite singers and he's singing, he's playing, whatever, and he looks you in the eye and he delivers a lyric right at you? And suddenly it feels like your sails are full. You feel really important. That is the kind of attention that so many of us are seeking. And at a comedy club, people get a little bit drunk. At a speech, people get a little insecure, and they might be craving your attention. And what your job is in this type of heckling situation is to give them your attention without causing them to seek it any further. You want to give it to them and make it neutralize. You want to affirm them and acknowledge them and get them to go away, and it works. Some people just need to feel important. They need to be recognized by the stage. And I've come up with a really interesting phrase for doing this. The phrase, which has a certain magic of its own, is "got it." So a guy keeps saying, "Dude, I love that shirt, man." You ignore it. "Dude, awesome." You ignore it. The third time, if it's starting to affect your performance, just go, "Got it." This is an interesting phrase because when people hear that, they go, in their head, they go, "He says he's got it. Oh, I guess I don't need to say it anymore." It sounds basic, just like all of these steps will, but if you try it right now with me, you'll start to see something pretty interesting. So I'll say it once and you say it. Here's the phrase, "got it." Say it. Great. You don't have to say it conflictingly, like "got it." You don't have to throw it in their face because then you're asking for more of a thing, but you just want to catch their blow. "Got it." And they will shut up. So I'm going to have you tell the story. We're going to enter Hecklerator 9000 simulation. Tell your story about lunch again. I'm going to say something, and I just want you to use the phrase to get me to just feel like I've been acknowledged, okay? So on 3, tell your story. 3, 2, engage. "I'm allergic to bread." Very good. Nicely done. Bravo. If you've ignored them and you've acknowledged them and they're still not changing their behavior, it's time to tell them exactly what to do. This is easy. Just like our last step, you don't want to do it too confrontationally or you're going to get into a whole thing. By the way, let me just take a quick little tangent here. You can always engage your crowd. That's called crowd work, and you can always do it. You can always ask a question of someone in your audience. It will always, if you can manage the crowd work, lead to far greater laughs, almost always, than what your material is. People love it when a comedian starts bantering and having fun with a crowd. These 4 steps exist as a framework into which you can slip anything else you want to do. You can put material between them, you can put crowd work in between them, but this is just a clean, easy and empty framework that you can put things on top of. But never be afraid of engaging your crowd. It's just that when you start out as a comedian, you may not feel like you have the confidence to do that. So do that as much or as little as you want. Back to our 3rd step. So you need to direct them. And the thing that we've come up with for that is just this. And that seems pretty basic. But what you want is a way to tell them to stop talking without actually using any words. Because words, they can come back to you with more words. My friend's a New York Police Department cop, and he once said to me, "Jerry, do you notice that police, when people are running away from them, they never say stop?" I said, "That's true." What do they say? They say freeze. Because stop is telling someone what not to do, and freeze is telling them what to do. And it has this kind of neuro-linguistic magic where if you're running and someone says stop, you go, no, I won't. But if someone says freeze, you kind of freeze up. That's what we're doing here. We're doing a symbol for be quiet, so they immediately know what you're asking, and then we're doing the symbol for cut it out. And we're not saying either of them. So I want you to try that. Go ahead, do that to me. Great. Go ahead, try it again. Fantastic. You're going to tell a new story. I'm going to have you tell me the story of your favorite memory of your father. Best memory you have of him. If you don't have a father, it can be your mom or another guardian, but pick that parental figure that made a nice warm memory, that's something that you love talking about. And I want you to tell it to me. We're going to count it down to 3, 2, 1. I'm going to interrupt you, and when I interrupt you, ready? Engage Hecklerator. Boring. Very good. That was very, very nice. All right, you've taken them down. You've ignored them. That got rid of 90 of them. You've acknowledged them. That got rid of 5 of them. You've directed them. That's got rid of 2 of them. You're only got about like 2 people left in your audience that are still going to give you trouble. And again, you can do crowd work at any time. But now, we're down to the tough ones. These are the people who just will not shut up. And I have found a very effective way for getting rid of them and for shutting them up. I don't want you to ever use this, but I do want you to know how to do it so that when you need to do it, it's ready at a moment's notice. So I'm going to train you in this very dirty, nasty, powerful tool so that you'll never worry about what will happen if someone is just an out-of-control heckler. This works a lot of the time. It's a pretty nasty trick, but you need to have it in your toolbox. Okay, so here it is. What you're going to do is you're going to leverage the power of the audience against one person and make them feel about this big. And the way you're going to do it is a scripted set of words, which I'm going to teach you. So you're performing, you've ignored them, acknowledged them, directed them, this guy's just not stopping. Everyone hates them already, and all you have to do is say, you know what, guys? I want to do a show, but I can't do it unless this guy stops talking. Do you guys want to see a show? Good. So you're going to build up this tension and release it on one person, and it is a horrible, horrible feeling for that person. It really makes them just shrink down into their chair and shut up. So I'm going to teach you the words, okay? So, guys, I want to do a show. Say it. But I can't do it if he keeps talking. Do you want to see a show? Good. Let's try that one more time. Guys, I want to do a show, but I can't do it if he keeps talking. Do you want to see a show? Good. Now, good is important because that's where you release it all and let that person knows that. No, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to say the whole line, then you say it, okay? Guys, I want to do a show, but I can't do it if he keeps talking. Do you want to see a show? Good. Say it. Great. Now let's say it together in unison. Ready? Guys, I want to do a show, but I can't do it if he keeps talking. Do you want to see a show? Good. Excellent. And that good is that moment of release. So, and you don't want to go, good. You just want to look at him and go, good. And then continue with your act. Okay, now it's time to practice. I'm going to have you tell the story about your dad. In the middle, I'm going to interrupt you, and I want you to draw the show to a close, like make everything stop. Say, guys, I want to do a show, but I can't do it if he keeps talking. Do you want to see a show? Good. And then keep going with your story. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I have a dad. Very good. Excellent job. Okay. You have now learned the 4 steps. We're going to put them all together. Before I do that, I just want to say a couple of things. There's something out there called a heckler stopper. These are pre-written lines that people use to put a heckler in their place. They're almost insult lines. You can play with those if you want to. Some people use them, some people don't. The other thing I want to say is that if you do decide to do some crowd work and engage the crowd, just never give away your microphone. You have power when you're louder than everyone else. So don't just give that away and go, oh yeah, well why don't you? It's like giving a robber a gun. You don't want to do that. Okay, it's now time to play. You're gonna tell me this story one last time about your dad. I'm gonna ignore you 4 times. The first time, I want you to ignore me. Say nothing, do nothing. The second time, I want you to acknowledge me. Got it, right? The third time, I want you to direct me. Just direct me. And the fourth time, bring the whole show to a close, turn everyone against me, and shut me down. Are you ready? Begin your story in 3, 2. Oh, it's so cute. I have a dad. My dad is cool. Oh, man. Bravo. You've done it. You have now learned how to deal with hecklers. You've learned not to take them personally, to ignore them or engage if you want to, but not to take everything that happens in your environment personally. When you feel like there's more, you've learned how to just let them know that, hey, you're there, I got it. You've acknowledged them. And when that doesn't get them, you can just direct them. Just tell them what you want them to do. And if that doesn't work, and you still don't want to play off them, and there's nothing left, take out the big stick and just club them with it. And that will handle 99% of hecklers. Which leads you to the question, what do you do with the 1%? And the 1% is the best percent in the world. It's the percent that you absolutely cannot plan for. It's the girl who takes off her clothes in the middle of your show. It's the guy who lights his table on fire. It's actually the percent that makes being a performer and an entertainer the most fun thing in the world, because nothing is more fun than sitting around with a table of comedians and discussing the stories that are just so improbable and so outstanding. It's actually why we love live theater, because you can't plan for everything. But you now have the tools to give you confidence in almost any situation. I want to wish you a great career. Come visit me at standupcomedyclass.com, my website. Come join my email list. Join our email list here at mastertalentteachers.com, and check out all of the teachers' pages for even more about acting, writing, dancing, singing. We've got it all here, and we thank you for joining us at mastertalentteachers.com.